Hello, and welcome to another episode of Panthers Coach's Corner. I'm Drew Brewer, and my guest today, I'm here with
Josh Crawford.
What's going on, Josh?
Man, it's cool, bro. I told you I haven't did one of these in high school since when I was actually cold. So it's interesting to be on this side. Like I said, I've been on this side of the microphone, haven't gotten recruited and stuff like that. But I haven't done, we work together obviously. Right. So it's cool to be on this side, I guess. So we'll see how it go. Don't Will Smith me, dog. Don't do me like Will Smith, man.
That was a really interesting night yesterday. I really have no words for that one. I can't say there's nothing I can say. At the end of the day, we wish everybody good
vibes, good energy.
But that just still was crazy.
Nah, thanks.
But now that we got you on the side of the interview, we just want to get a little, how was it for you coming to PV just as a freshman, coming in for the football program?
So I got recruited by a lot of the SWAC HBCU schools. My stepmother, she actually attended Howard University. So my father went to FAMU, so I was in tune in terms of what HBCU did for our culture. So originally, the recruiting staff that's here, the coaching staff that's here now, Mark Fredericks, Bubba McDowell, Ashton Green, who actually left and came back, and Ted White, who's now actually the quarterback's coach for the Houston Texans, they was recruiting me at Pine Bluff. But I'm from Memphis. Arkansas is not that far. I had a desire to really go out and see something different and try to just get away from my environment. And I just kind of told them I wasn't gonna go to Pine Bluff. And it was kind of, we got really nice dorms and whatnot. It wasn't nothing like that there. And then Arkansas is kind of a bland place to be, anyways. So I think they came here summer before my senior year. So they had only been here like a year when I got here as a freshman. So yeah, man, I came down on the visit for like January after my senior season. My host was the starting quarterback, Nico Hollins, and the starting running back, Dwayne Tucker. Two guys that I'm still really close with to this day. We forged a bond. I met a lot of my teammates, a lot of the guys in my recruiting class on that visit ended up committing, and we forged a bond there. So these athletes online, when they come up here and say PV makes you feel like a home, makes you feel at home, because it does, and that's why we get a lot of recruits. So I was one of them. I was happy with my time here at PV, and if I had to redo it, I would choose it again.
That's right. So coming into PV, at first the football program wasn't as it is today. There was a lot of issues, both offensively and defensively, that needed to be addressed and needed to be changed up. So as your time here, from the freshman that you was to now, with you seeing the change from how the program first started to where it is now, how do you see that building up into the next season?
It's light years away, honestly. First, the biggest change, you obviously leadership change, going from Eric Dooley to Bubba McDowell. So that's just different. You got one guy who has roots based out of Louisiana. That's where most of his talent base is going to come from. You got a guy, Coach Bubba, who was a NFL All-Pro player. That means you're one of the 3 best players at your position in that year. Not Pro Bowl, All-Pro. So that's really good. He went to legendary college, talking about the University of Miami. Started there and then obviously played for the Oilers. So just different ways of operating, different personalities, different recruiting bases. So I think the roster makeup will change going forward with Bubba, and just different emphasis. Coach Dooley was a guy that emphasized speed, emphasized offense, emphasized making it look good, where Coach Bubba, even as the DB's coach, has emphasized kind of more like a rugged, hard-nosed play, exemplary play in the secondary. Like I said, guys like Dre Cheatham, Logan Jackson, guys like that, Tariq Moore. So it's just it's just different. You see it in a lot of different ways. You see different guys reacting differently. So it's I would say we're more successful now. But it's all things. This program had to take time to grow and mature.
Right. So what led you to just play football? I know everybody that plays a sport has that origin story, that this is what led me to be the player I am today. So what can you say motivated you to become who you are?
Athletics has always been a big part of my background. My dad played collegiate baseball at FAMU. I got different cousins and whatnot that attended the University of Memphis, like Adonis Thomas, somebody that a family friend of mine, Joe Jackson, a family friend of mine, both guys. Memphis is just it's a hotbed for talent, really. So most of the people that are going to come there are going to be rather talented, either athletically or intellectually. It's just a matter of whether or not you can avoid the pitfalls that come from being from where we're from. So really, I played basketball for any sport. I tried football in Little League once, and I really wasn't getting the playing time, so I just, whatever. But I was better at basketball anyways. And like I said, Memphis is a basketball city. The Tigers, Grizzlies are really big. We don't have a football team to call our own besides the Memphis Tigers. And when I was growing up, they was really bad. Like they was like going 0-10. They was like the stadium was looking like a dust town, whatever. So I started playing basketball. I played basketball like competitively, like AAU, until my 8th grade year. And the head coach at my middle school, his name is Bill Courtney. You can look him up. He had a documentary. I think it won an Oscar. He was a white guy, older white guy, like $1 million. He made like $1 million off like the lumber business, but he was always a coach. So he saw me play basketball, but I was always my size. And he was like, "Oh, you should play football." And from there ever since, I figured I like to hit guys. Like I played basketball, but like getting like when you know you can physically dominate somebody, it's a special feeling. So I just took it and ran with it.
Right. As a defense, that's one of those. That's probably the best side of the ball that you want to be on. You don't have to really worry too much. The plays are kind of simple and pretty self-explanatory. So other than that, I can see where you come from. That was one of those things when I played football. Just the defensive side was just once you could really go in and hit somebody, take out all that aggression. It's really something that can help you relax too. It's really a calm and relaxing feeling. So, coming into the program, we had discussed that the program wasn't where it is as it is right now. So coming from your last year and winning the Western Conference SWAC for PV, how does that make you feel?
Proud. That's all it is, man. Like I said, a lot of the guys that was on the team with me last year, I literally went to go see their spring ball, their first practice of this year. I came up with those guys. We were in the same recruiting class. We shared text messages. We've lived together. We've worked out together. Especially when you come to college at a D1 level, you spend more time with your teammates and coaches than you spend with anybody else. So I forged a bond. I forged a relationship, a very close relationship with a lot of those guys. So it made me proud because I know that we all had worked toward it. We all had gave up. We all had sacrificed. We all had done things individually to make this a success, make us successful as a team. So we was proud. We was proud, and it was just a relief, really, because all the stuff that you worked hard for, you saw it pay off.
Right. So, that is true. Just hard work does pay off, especially when it comes to that. And we really do. The fact that PV has really came far in what they have done in terms of the sportings, especially with football, with the stadium coming in and all these different new additions coming up to play. So we just really understand that it's more like, how do you feel about the new people that are coming into the fold when it comes to PV football? Do you feel that they are able to really make a difference? Like, are they up for the challenge? Like, how do you see yourselves? Do you see anybody that you could see as mentoring coming into this program?
Most definitely. There are guys that were there currently that were in place, guys like a Troy James or Dante Carter that were in my position. That it's a brotherhood. So you're gonna share sauce, you're gonna share secrets, you're gonna ensure that your teammates are as successful as they can be. And that's all a part of being a good team. So those guys those guys are both from New Orleans, Baton Rouge area. I've become close with them, so it was nice to see them today, and I know that they'll be critical to the team's success in terms of like freshmen coming in, or these younger guys. Jesse Evans is a guy that's had a lot of success here early on as an underclassman. Very physically gifted, was a highly 3-star, 4-star type of recruit. So I know that he's a guy with a lot of potential, and I know that he can do some things. He can do some things at the next level potentially. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a couple guys. It's a good mixture of vets and younger guys. They got a really impact guy from Eastern Michigan at the defensive end spot that I really like, that I got to talk to. They got one of my other close friends, somebody I think could really have a breakout year, is Shelvin Hudson. Junior college All-American, came here last year, I think 2 years ago at this point. and just, for whatever reason, different things. Yeah, as you know, Drew, I've told you, it's not always necessarily about who's the best player, per se. So I think that he's a guy that's super physical, very fast, very strong. I think that if they put him in the right position, he's definitely somebody that I can see having a breakout year. And they got a lot of talent on the D-line.
So as for you, what are your plans after PV when you leave PV? Are you still interested in pursuing a career with football, or are you trying to continue with anything else?
It's just God's plan. I'm a big believer in faith and moving forward. And, it's crazy that I act around here. I am very centered. I like to think things out, and I believe if you work hard, good things, the thing that you want to happen to you. So that's where I'm at the stage of my life. People may know, I'm interning right now at ESPN as like a production assistant, social media content guy. I actually got accepted to Syracuse University, their journalism program, probably at the top end of the country. I'm actually going up there on Thursday to check it out because it's like an exclusive event for people that only got accepted. So I got a lot of good options in front of me right now. My D-line coach had reached out to me about coming back to play. That's not all the way out of the equation, but I like it. I stay in pretty good shape. You don't think I've been getting fat, son? I still look good, son. So that's good. But when in a position like this, especially like we're friends. I'm from a tougher background. So in this being a position to where I'm blessed and companies and schools compete for my services, and coaches still wanted me to exhaust my eligibility. It's just a blessing. So I'm gonna just do what got me here. Keep working hard. Stay prayed up. Be kind to other people, and God has a way of sorting it out for me.
Right. So congratulations with everything and I really do hope that you do pursue your dreams, and that everything that you have really prayed for and worked hard for does come in fruition, and you're able to be successful in life.
For sure, appreciate that, brother.
When we come back, we'll talk more about the SWAC and everything that's going around. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm here with Josh from the football team, and we just discussed more about how he's been going with how he was from his freshman year going into his senior year, and his plans after college and after everything. So Josh, now that we got all that out of the way, more news around the SWAC. One of the most important things that's going on is Deion Sanders calling out NFL teams for not coming to Jackson State's Pro Day. How are you feeling about that?
He continued to do the important work in the HBC community. I told you right before we started recording, I actually had a friend, one of my closest friends, does my podcast, No Cap Sports Podcast. Y'all check that out. He does that with me, and he goes to Millsaps because the combine was for all like Jackson area schools. They had Alcorn, Jackson State, Miles College, Mississippi Colleges like NAIA. So it wasn't limited to only Jackson State. So, Deion Sanders, obviously we've seen what even a joke can do last night. Like, people do not like to be called out for what they perceive as being wrong or perceive as something they did that wasn't the right way to do things. So Deion Sanders, has shown time and time again he's not afraid to do the work. He's not afraid to be out in the community and challenge some of these long-standing barriers we have in terms of HBCU football. So the fact that he put on that event, was amazing, just because it gave so many guys an opportunity that wouldn't have had one, especially the lower D2, D3, NAIA guys. And the fact that he put that on for rival schools and made sure that he held the scouts accountable for not seeing it. It's he has always gone on above and beyond in his pursuit. Since he became the coach of Jackson, and I can do nothing but admire that, because a lot of people thought it would be a fad or he'll just phase out or whatever, but he's doing the work, and that's what's most important.
Right. There was another thing that really stuck out to me was when he talked about the fact that when it comes to HBCUs, they don't have the last name on the back of the jersey. And it was something how if you go to a PWI school, they would have it. So now their mama can see who they are. Everybody can see that particular person. But for an HBCU, you have to kind of guess.
Yeah,
if you don't know that person's number, you don't know if that's him or not. So that was another thing that I feel like is a very important thing that needs to be addressed when it comes to SWAC, and especially with HBCUs in general, is the fact that you need to give these guys more exposure, more chances to really show themselves and showcase how their talents. It's more than just going out there and playing. That's still a person who is working really hard for that. And just as simple as a name on the back, that deserves the recognition of their hard work. So it's just one of those things, I applaud Deion for coming into the HBCUs and really trying to give us more of a background to be shown and really get the showcase from not just PWI, but just around the world. HBCUs now have been getting a lot more attention due to the fact of, I know PV, we got a grant, not a grant, but in the federal bill for millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah, from the White House, something like that.
So,
it was a million, some M's for sure.
So, there's a lot of schools that's over here that's just getting money, and then people are really starting to see the value that HBCUs have. We have a lot of people just in the world today who are HBCU alums who are actually doing successful things in the world, and that's just something that needs to be more broadcasted. So PV in the SWAC has been a real dominant force in the last couple of years, winning 4 championships with men and women's indoor track and field, as well as soccer and as well as bowling. Bowling, I believe they've won 5.
No, they like the Warriors at bowling.
They've been winning back-to-back championships, and that's crazy, because bowling is one of those sports that nobody really pays attention to. We might, hey, you want to go bowling? Yeah, we go have fun with it. But when it comes to a professional-wise, even collegiate-wise, we're not really thinking about it like that. So for this team to really go out there and dominate their sport, it really shows a lot of the testament of PV Panthers.
No, I would definitely say so. It's a program, like you said, that has demonstrated a high level of success. And, as an athlete, I know that that's probably the hardest position to be in. As nobody liked the Patriots. Nobody liked the Cowboys. So for PD's chance to continue to sustain that success and defend their title, that's very impressive. And you're talking about sports, I guess you could say they're quote-unquote auxiliary sports, because, the main ones people thinking about are talking about basketball and football. But these athletes work just as hard. Worthington, the cross-country guy, our producer, just earlier, he talked about me running across campus. I'm like, I am not a cross-country runner, sir. I'm not going to run nowhere. No. So these athletes, these quote-unquote auxiliary athletes, work just as hard or as harder than the ones that you read about and get most of the headlines about. So it makes me happy to see other PV athletes succeeding and thriving and getting that recognition out there.
Right. Going into with the PV basketball team, Coach Smith winning, just being the most winningest coach in SWAC at this point. He's really brought the team together when it comes to the men's basketball team. And it's just, I remember we was at that game and we could see on his face the frustration of just how, that was a tough loss to Jackson State.
Sure.
Yes, that was a tough loss, but you know what? He still, no matter how much that might have upset it, he's still one of the best coaches in basketball when it comes to the SWAC and collegiate. So I just give him respect to that. A lot of our coaches here are just some of the best coaches we have.
Class X.
Class X. It's always that saying that, you can coach a player as much as you want, but at the end of the day, it's up to the player to do what you got to do. You know, you don't really blame the coaching for the player playing. You know, the coaches, depending on that coach, and the coaches we have had here have been really outstanding coaches. You know, I understand with basketball, and then we have Coach Pugh with the women's basketball team, also doing an amazing job with them. And just a lot of the coaches that's going around here that really standing up for it. You know, we have golf, even though they don't have a coach right now, they too, well, Coach Jennings was doing such an amazing job, and they were able to bring the program up. And I spoke with, and we have one of our own, Iman Abraham, who is on the golf team, and she's even expressed how the difference between having the coach and not having the coach has really affected the team, but also when the coach was here, how much the team was able to build and able to prosper and really relish that chat.
Yeah, for sure, man. You know, as like you said, we're both from pretty rather rough places, L.A. and Memphis. You know that unfortunately is a case where, you know, your father, or a lot of black fathers, are unable to be, you know, in the household. So a lot of us look to, a lot of athletes, black, minority, young, older, whatever, we look to these coaches as father figures, as parental, for advice. You know, like I said, I had a coach that saw the potential in me. It's like, you're not going to be the world's biggest point guard, son, but you can be a Division I defensive lineman. And that forever changed the trajectory of my life. You know, I got coaches that, you know, when I was going through different mishaps in my life, that I stayed with them for extended periods of time, lived with them, went to church with them. They fed me, clothed me. So, yeah, like Iman said, you can't overstate the importance of a coach. And even just taking it away from the results based, you know, all the coaches here could go 0 for the season. But having worked in this new space, getting into the media, working in the TV station, you know, we deal with these people regularly. You know, and I can't speak for you, but I'll assume that I have never had a negative experience with a coach. I never had a coach be upset with me. I never had a coach, you know, even like you said with Coach Smith, that was a tough loss. That was a tough loss. Then you heard like the band, he has some critical things to say about that. He could have easily blown us off, got upset, said, you know what, I'm not feeling it. Class act, took his time to do the interview, ensured that we got a good, you know, clip, made sure that we knew his availability going forward, and that just speaks to the people. You can get, you know, how many scandals have we seen since we started working together, Drew? How many scandals have we seen, you know, with collegiate sports, professional sports, talking about, you know, different outrageous things, but it all stems from the coach, because that's the head man. The biggest charge that you can face as a coach, it was, you know, my University of Memphis Tigers is going through right now, is a lack of institutional control. You know, you've heard that buzzword. Right. Basically, you don't have a handle on your program. And I can't say that for any of the coaches here. You know, they have been successful at a high level, as you just said, but for me, as an athlete, I think it stems from them being good people. You know, we have good people. The basis of that foundation is people want to come work for you. People want to show up. People want to come do their job. I mean, if you're a nice boss or an effective, you don't got to be nice. You have to be effective. If you're an effective leader, people will go above and beyond for you, because you have demonstrated that you care and that you know what you're talking about. So I think that's where it stands. I think that's basically where a lot of our success stems from the leader department, because the coaches are great people.
All right, and you know. Going on with SWAC, the 2 new additions to FAMU and Bethune-Cookman coming in. I know they're playing with the East, so we haven't really been able to see them against PV, but there will be a time.
I played against them. We went down to Florida and played against them.
So just going into that, you know, how was that? How do you feel about them coming into the SWAC and bringing in more?
They bring legacies. They bring a new kind of a coastal thing that we haven't had before, talking about 2 Florida programs. There was a school in Florida and the SWAC before they came. Obviously, anytime you add schools, you add revenue, you add fan bases, you add, you know, different rivalries. I think Bethune and FAMU are rivals. And then you, at the very basis of it for the athletes, you add, you know, a different experience. Like I said, a lot of the SWAC schools, Southwestern athletics, going to be at least close to the West. You got most of them are, you know, Mid-South, Alabama, Tennessee, whatever, Texas. So, but like I said, the Bethune and FAMU are the only 2 schools in Florida. So at the very basis, you know, every SWAC athlete gets a free trip to Florida every year or every other year. So that's just an experience. And you don't underestimate the value of somebody that's had to work hard their whole life to get to see something new on somebody else's dime. It's a very wonderful experience. So, but I think that it just adds, you know, overall competitiveness. and it showed the attractability of the SWAC right now to where, you know, FAMU was in the FCS playoffs in football.
Right.
So a program of that caliber, which hasn't been done from an FCS, HBCU school in who knows how long, for them to want to join, from them want to leave the MEAC, which isn't a bad conference, to join us, I just think it attests to how much the SWAC is popping right now.
Right, you know, just even with basketball, TSU making it to March Madness, and, you know, they might not have gone as far as they did, but they did put a statement out there, you know, like, this is who we are, you know, SWAC is coming out here, and we're really ready to compete with all these other schools and not to really just leave us out, because at the end of the day, you know, we are still that conference. SWAC is a tough conference. If you look at some of the teams that we have, you know, Jackson State, the Southerns, even though they didn't have that much of a great season that year.
But they're traditionally good. I like
yeah,
that
but just the, you know, these teams are good. These teams have had a tough run.
Oh, trust me, I know.
But
I know
SWAC
for
is
sure.
out. Hey,
I would go on a limb to say that, you know, obviously you got your Alabamas, your Floridas, whatever. I mean, it's crazy because Texas Southern actually beat Florida in basketball earlier. We talked about it.
Yep.
But outside of the FBS conferences, so you're talking about ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and the SEC, I might have said, but it's 5, you know the ones.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a conference outside of, well, maybe like the American or like outside of FBS, because you got the Mountain West, American, and all that. Outside of the FBS, I think the SWAC is the best conference in America. Right. Because, like you say, you're talking about a conference that not only does it in one sport, talking about football, we got, like you said, since my 4 years have been here, the SWAC has been, the TSU and Southern, TSU and PV have been the ones to get the automatic NCAA tournament bid. And they both have won games, either in the first format or advancing. And you're talking about, recently, like we said, Jackson State, Deion Sanders. And it's not a one-trick pony. You got Hugh Jackson at Grambling. You got Bubba McDowell at Prairie View. Right. So this is a conference, like you said, loaded with elite talent, with legendary leadership. And I think we just had the #1 player in the country commit to our conference. Right. How much bigger can it get than that?
Right. You know, that's just a testament of what SWAC has and what we can look forward to coming into it. Well, thank you for having us with you today for Coach's Corner. I'm Drew Brewer, along with Josh Crawford. Remember to stay tuned for every day at 3 p.m. for a new coach or player on today's Coach's Corner. At the end of the day, have a great day.